4 o'clock.
I'll wait till 4:30.
Please don't.
We'll call the planning mission, meeting together for, January 21st, 2021. Do I start with roll call and then minutes?
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Crompton?
Here.
Mr. Dillon?
Here.
Ms. Rohr?
Here.
Mr. Kella?
Here.
Mr. Perez?
Here.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Here.
Okay. First on the agenda is approval of minutes, as Chairman Dillon said, and we have 2 minutes to approve tonight, and I would recommend you do them separately. The first one is the December 3rd, 2020 Special Plan Commission meeting minutes.
A motion for the first one.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr? Aye. Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
All right. The second meeting minutes are from the December 17th, 2020 Plan Commission meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have citizens to be heard on agenda items. This section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding items listed on the agenda that is not already listed as a public hearing. We do not have anything listed today that is not already scheduled as a public hearing. So we can move on to the agenda. Under old business, public hearing, we have nothing listed. Under new business, public hearing, we have 2 agenda items. The first agenda item is M121, additional house plans for the Graywall Club subdivision. Let me get to that here. Okay. So M121, additional house plans for Graywall Club subdivision. The applicant is Lennar Homes. Richard Murphy is acting as their agent. Status of the applicant is property owner builder. The requested action is approval of additional house plans. The existing zoning for the parcels in question is R1B, which is single-family residential. The location of the properties in question is the southeast corner of Caton Farm Road and Arbiter Road. Existing land use is single-family residential, and surrounding land uses and zonings as noted. North, it's undeveloped and it's zoned, it's undeveloped but scheduled for residential as it is zoned single-family residential. South is, the land use is residential and it is zoned R1B and R4. To the east is zoned, or is residential currently, and it is zoned R3 and R4. And to the west, it is undeveloped residential, and it's zoned R1B. Site history. The annexation, zoning reclassification, and annexation agreement and preliminary PUD were approved in February 2004 for the Graywall Club subdivision. Subsequent units 1 through 10 were approved from April 2004 through November 2005. Under special information, the petitioner, which is Lennar Homes, owns the remaining 109 undeveloped single-family lots in Graywall Club subdivision. And the site plan is attached. Ranch plans were not included in the original approvals for Graywall Club subdivision. The petitioner has stated that ranches have become significantly more desired. The Sienna model is a 1,866 square foot ranch with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a 2-car garage. The Sonoma plan is a 1,880 square foot model ranch with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a 2-car garage. Basements will be standard features in both models. 3 elevations, A, B, and C, will be offered for each model that will include siding and brick options that will be made available to the buyers. The new house plans have not been presented yet to the Homeowners Association Board. The 2 proposed ranch plans will be in addition to 4 other 2-story models that meet existing subdivision design standards and will also be offered. Will be required to meet 8-12 roof pitches, minimum brick requirements, which consists of 25% of the front elevations of 50% of the homes, anti-monotony standards, key lot requirements. They will have a window on each elevation and a covered front porches on all models. Under analysis, the approval of the requested additional house plans will allow for the builder to add 2 ranch plans to their new model line. And that concludes staff's report. I would like to note that the commission did receive 2 written comments that were provided through our public comment system. And Derek, do we have anyone here to speak on this?
The petitioner is here, and then we have 2 people here that would like to speak.
Okay, so that's what we have, Chairman Dillon.
Can we bring the petitioner in, please?
Good afternoon, I'm Richard Murphy from Lennar Homes.
Do you have anything you would like to add?
Yes, please. I'd like to add that obviously economic forces took effect back in the late 2000s, and it's really only become very recent that this became, again, economically viable. You know, you may know that we're working over at Windsor Ridge, in Lakewood Prairie, and building homes over there. So the ranch product is highly desired by today's buyer. It's actually a premium product as far as ranch homes goes. We probably, if you were looking for a lower price and lower value, you probably could buy 300 or 400 more square feet in a 2-story than you can in a ranch home. Just a lifestyle choice. And we're seeing demands up to 40 or 50% with market forces. As far as the site plan goes, we have a fit probably that could extend up to 50 or 60 of the home sites out of 109. But with restrictions and what I call the anti-monotony that we'd be with, we could probably end up building no more than probably 30 or 40, ranches in the community.
You're only building 30 or 40 ranches?
That's just a projection out of the entire site.
You have 109 lots, correct?
Correct. We have 2-story home sites as well. So we have basically, we're looking at 6 models altogether. And as you can see, we have different elevations. The lineup does conform with the brick requirements and the architectural requirements in the neighborhood in accordance with the annexation agreement.
Underneath your square footage, 1880, how much of that is garage space?
That's just living space.
That's just strictly living space.
Right, and then typically in a ranch, you get a large, basements actually end up being quite substantial as well. So, though it doesn't count as living space, it's quite a bit of area.
Okay. Are any of these going to be brick all the way around, or no?
No, we would conform with the standards. I think the standard was 50% of the units have to have, or homes, have to have 25% on the front elevation.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the commissioners?
I have a couple.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was there a reason this hasn't been shared with the homeowners yet?
Sort of. We went before the association with the townhomes, and let's just say took some abuse there, and it was really unrelated to the architecture, and it was really a discussion about, we could not add townhomes to the condominium association. Legally, we couldn't do it. And that upset the board, and we actually never got past, the topic at hand. And it's the same association. Now, I recently discovered that the association has changed hands as of, I think, this month.
Okay.
And I'll just remind you that we do have declarant rights and designated builder rights in the homeowners declarations. If you know what that means.
Is there any restriction on how many ranches can be built in that subdivision from the original paperwork?
I didn't see any restrictions at all regarding ranches or 2 stories. It just appears that it never was presented previously.
And you guys couldn't build townhomes, so you're going to this route, right?
No, we're building townhomes in the townhome section. So this is a single-family neighborhood, so we have a current product that meets today's, meets the standards out there.
Any other questions from the commissioners? We have 2 people here that want to speak.
Yes.
We bring them in.
So, sir, we're gonna have to ask you to,
The board definitely was not notified about this. We were wondering why that was as well. Particularly as the map shows, I live on Providence Way. All those homes there are 2,800 to 3,200 square foot homes. And I just don't think, it would look very visually good having 1,800 square foot ranch homes right there. We have a very strict HOA, shadow fencing, particular this, that, can't change your shutters. But then we're just gonna have these much smaller homes right next to us. So, we don't know why it wasn't presented to the board. I've been in contact with them. What he's talking about, I believe from the last meeting, the argument that took place, we have a severe drainage issue that we believe Lennar should have to take care of before building more homes in there regardlessly. So I think this has been answered though, would the 25% of homes be 25% of the empty lots that are still supposed to be built, or 25% of the whole neighborhood in a whole? Because if it's the whole neighborhood in a whole, couldn't they technically take the rest of those 25% of lots and build all ranches?
He stated he was gonna have 30 to 40 ranch-style homes, period, out of the 109 possible lot sites.
So, I mean, I know for sure, like, it was not presented to all Graywell residents. It was only presented to, homes that were within 600 feet of the building sites. So, 3,300 to an 1,800 square foot home right next to each other, I just think is gonna look really, really off. I mean, does that affect our property value? I don't know where that goes from there, but we don't have any ranches in there now. They're all 2-story with 3-car garage, 2-car garage, 4-bedroom homes. So that's my questions and my concerns as a homeowner in there.
Okay. Chris, I got a question. When their association meets, do they have any say-so in any of this stuff?
I don't know what the bylaws say, so it's really hard for me to answer.
We should have a say-so in it. Lennar only owns 109 homes. And we have 633 homes in there right now. So we definitely, the homeowners have a majority. And like I said, only the people that were within 600 square feet or 600 feet of the building sites got notified. Not our whole community and not the board.
Can we have the representative come in and address that?
I can't understand what you said.
Oh. Can we have the representative come in and address that?
Yep.
On the bylaws?
Can you tell us what the bylaws state?
Absolutely. What I mentioned before, earlier, was that Lennar retains the declarant rights and designated builder rights. So, not to be disrespectful, but the consultation is really more with the village. We have the right to change product as needed to meet the market. Just so long as we're in conformance with the annexation agreement. I actually have an opinion letter from our attorney explaining that, which I'm surprised that, I don't know how it didn't make it into the package, but.
Yeah, we don't even have a copy of that.
Okay, so I have like 10 copies of it if you need them.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are there other ranches in the existing neighborhood right now?
Well, actually, we've been building in the Windsor Ridge and we are building a ranch product. So we're talking like, what is that, a block south in Graywell neighborhood area.
Well, is there a minimum square footage on the ranch and the two-story? What would the minimum square footages be?
I don't believe there is. I mean, I think it's this by zoning ordinance.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman? I have a
So
question.
again, the ranch product it would sell at a premium to a two-story for the same square footage, much higher premium. Even
ahead.
though the square footage looks less, we'll probably have one or two single families that might price out less. And then also, people take options and so forth. So the base price isn't really reflective of the final selling price.
So, my experience, I was a realtor, I actually just changed professions, within the past couple of years, but I did real estate in the area for quite a while. And my experience is that the ranches were so hard to find that, and especially new builders were never building it because the cost didn't make sense as to where they could build a two-story. And so it was really hard to find new construction or ranches in general. And so the prices of those skyrocketed, were ultimately brought up the home values surrounding them in the two stories, even though they're not comparable models. But the house next to you is selling for $300,000, and yours is a two-story that inevitably has an impact. I feel like there's just a misconception that if you bring in ranch homes, that it's going to lower the property values of the surrounding. Would you agree, or?
I totally agree. I think you're right, and that's why a lot of times you'll see municipalities have a lower square footage minimum for ranches. And again, if you were looking for pure price and pure value, you look at a two-story. It's much less costly to build, and it's a lifestyle choice. So you might have someone that just wants to downsize a little bit, don't want to handle the stairs. I'm not going to say it's age targeted or anything, but there's probably a different demographic that's looking for that home, right?
Well, it's cheaper to build up than out. Or you got more concrete on a ranch.
Absolutely. You're building a roof and a basement, a
Yeah,
foundation.
there's more dimensional lumber on a ranch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it really is a premium product, and I know it's hard to explain that, but it's, you know, as far as the home size goes, you could get 300 or 400 more square feet for the same price.
You had a question, Mr. Cox?
Yeah, does staff have any recommendation on this? I didn't see it at the end.
We did not give a recommendation on it. I mean, we had the same questions I think several of you had asked, and, you know, this is the petitioner's opportunity to answer your questions.
Thank you.
And we don't know originally when they all designed this whole neighborhood, what they said they were gonna do. Was it gonna be?
I mean, they had the
one-story?
contract,
Well,
right?
it's-
I beg your pardon?
Well, they have the contract, right? I mean, they know when the homeowners association or,
Back in
right? There's a building.
2004, I'm saying when this all was approved originally, when they laid it all out, was it gonna all be two stories? Was it gonna be ranch, mixed two stories,
I can answer
townhomes?
that. Yeah, I mean, we did, at that time, it was presented to the plan commission and then city council, as a development of two stories. So the commission at that time and the city council who approved the plat, the final recording plats for the subdivision, and prior to that, the annexation agreements, it did outline what the house models would be. Our ordinance right now allows for changes, doesn't allow for changes of type, which is what this is. It would be allowing the introduction of a one-story model. So, as the staff report notes, the company is also introducing two-story models into the subdivision that do meet the requirements that were outlined originally by this subdivision. So those aren't under scrutiny tonight. It's just the two ranch-style homes.
So can you correct me if I'm wrong? I mean, I think the only reason that the one story wasn't presented earlier is just because it wasn't presented. I didn't see anything in the annexation agreement prevented ranch homes. Am I right or wrong?
We've had a couple of these come before. I'm gonna answer your question maybe like a little bit like this, but I guess it wasn't explicitly prohibited ranch style homes. To answer your question to yours, that was pretty standard though. We've had a couple house plans come before for staff, and unless they were expressly prohibited, and, I mean, I guess my point is one-story models, they weren't discussed, and therefore that's why they're coming before you. They weren't prohibited, but it wasn't part of what everyone agreed upon back in the time the subdivision was approved.
I think part of that's probably because of the economic impact, like you were saying, right? That these homes are,
Absolutely. I think the buyer's taste
stagnant.
buyer's taste and requirements have changed, and there's a much higher demand for ranch homes. So it could be, any given model, it just could be that there wasn't felt to be a demand on that. But I don't think it was prevented by the annexation agreement. It's just that we see, Lennar builds we build over 1,000 homes a year in the Chicagoland area between northwest Indiana and the Wisconsin border. So we have a pretty good sense for what the demand, when we'll go out, open up a subdivision somewhere, we know what people want, and we know what people are asking for. So we know that the demand is very high for a ranch home, and it's a good thing because it's typically, a lower bedroom count and just a higher price, and it is again, a lifestyle choice. It's not a cost-driven choice.
Okay, we had another person that wanted to speak on this too.
Thank you.
You always have to come back in, don't know.
Hi, my name is Jamie Wood. I live on Providence Way in the Great Wall subdivision. I think, first of all, the drainage system, we have a drainage issue that the Lennar needs to take care of before we add more homes. The second thing is the ranch style homes, there are none in Great Wall. He mentioned Windsor Ridge, which is a subdivision connected to ours, just south of there. But there are no ranch style homes, so the aesthetics would be kind of off. If we had all of a sudden, all the rest of the homes are two-story from 2,300 to 3,000 square feet, and then now you're going to add little ranch homes in between when there are no others in the neighborhood. So we have issues with that. We understand Lennar would like to just sell off the lots, but we just think it'd be better if they were the same type of homes in that area. Great Wall is a mixed income neighborhood. We do have townhomes to the east of us. We have duplexes north of those. So as far as demographically speaking, we're very diverse there. But when you put in these smaller homes next to these two-story homes, it just makes our subdivision look, I know it's cosmetic, but it'll look ridiculous. I don't know what else to say. And it's a young family. Most people who live in the single-family homes have young children. There are a lot of children, and most of these ranch styles probably would, like he's mentioned, his choice of lifestyle would be like older couples or couples with kids in college, and now they're looking to downsize. But I mean, there's those differences too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bridget, I have a question for you since you were in real estate.
and you don't even have to pay me.
When you start building these homes and you have ranches and then you have two stories, does it affect the price of these homes down the road?
Well, something I was going to ask, and it seems weird because, I just went to, and the setup is very much like the bottom floor plan, the elevation C there. And this is what I was going to ask you. When we got there, my husband actually went to the upstairs. He was like, where's the stairs to go up? Because it was a relatively small home, but I think there's a little bit of a misconception that visually it's not going to look the same next to another home. I mean, I don't think it's going to be such an eyesore that you're like, this little dinky, shack I think they're relatively the same, I mean, not the same height pitch, but I mean, they're gonna be in line. I would think that'd probably be the biggest impact negatively on, like, on a price, is if it was like that, but otherwise, like I said, my experience with ranches, and from, always had this conversation, was that there's a very big misconception that ranch houses are gonna decrease the value of your two-story home next door. The only thing I could think of is if, yes, there's a one-story home next door, but it, you know, is rinky-dinky and it aesthetically looks weird, but even that's not gonna bring down really the value of your particular real estate investment.
No, and we can't possibly build a new home for what an existing home is selling for. So, I mean, I think footprint, I think when the commissioners mentioned, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, footprint is generally bigger on a ranch home because you're packing all your living space.
Yes, your foundation's wider. Because you're two-story, you're
So you
going
have
up.
actually a tendency to be just wider and deeper than, and that's why when we talk about 50 or 60 home sites could fit it, some of that's out of 109, and the reason we can't is because the home starts to get into such a depth that you know, it doesn't fit either in the drainage or the setbacks and so forth. So the footprint is generally on the ground, bigger on a ranch.
Is the setback gonna be the same as the two stories then, or no?
Yeah, yes.
So they basically have the same,
Front setbacks, and all the
driveway.
setbacks set forth in the plat, everything's gonna be respected,
but a smaller backyard.
yes.
So all of the highlighted lots are highlighted lots that are vacant, they're not what the ranch units are gonna go on. So they are gonna be mixed in.
And you'll notice, if you really look at the plan, you'll notice it's really kind of, it's not interspersed with the existing homes too much. So we have the end of the block there, and this is all kind of off on the west and central and north sides.
And there could be some two stories in there, right? Depending on what,
Well, yeah, four of our
Yeah.
home models are gonna be two stories, I'm sorry. So we're planning on offering basically six models. So you see the two stories listed below.
Yeah, because they were talking 30 to 40 ranches only out of the 109 spaces available now.
And you know what, I'm not suggesting we limit it or anything, but that's just a sense for what I think it's gonna turn out. If there's any fear that we're gonna go in here and do 109, that won't happen.
Mr. Chairman, is there somebody, I know Scott's not here, but sounds like they got a drainage issue. Is there somebody that they could contact, or?
I think the planning and engineering is well aware of the situation. It's the runoff off the field onto the east, comes off of the high school on the Park District land across the field. And the city, I think, works with the developer primarily and worked out a overland route.
Okay.
And corrected that. Now, you know, some of this is maybe just recalling history. I'm not gonna,
Yeah, I don't want to get
case
into
for
that.
that.
Like I said, I just wanted to make sure that
well, we
if
actually.
there's some concerns, maybe make sure that somebody from the city reaches out to them. That's all.
Yeah, so even on the townhomes, we ended up taking 2 units out of the townhome to stay. There's an easement established for it now.
Sure.
So, and then the other thing is just to remind the existing homeowners and homeowners association, a lot more units to help pay the upkeep and maintenance of the public, common areas too. So this is a benefit to everybody.
Mr. Cox, I'll make sure that Scott's aware and see what's been said, so we'll
Okay,
get back
that's
to
all. I
it.
just
We'll
wanted
get
to
back to
give
the
them a
commission
little-
about that next month or
Okay.
via email.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think my discussions with Jim Torrey and I think Jim Tristan and Scott, everybody knows exactly what's going on that drainage.
But that drainage is in the same location where these new houses are going to be? 'Cause you
No,
said
it's
to the
actually
east, right?
not. Can I walk up to your screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It's over here. You can almost see the channel coming out of the field. And the city and our predecessors worked on establishing a thing. This building and this building got shortened up by 1 unit because there's an easement through there now. There's a big wide easement to allow for that flow.
Sure.
And so that's quite removed from over here.
Are there any other
I
comments,
see
commissioners?
someone new out in the, out there.
Do we have another person?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be back.
All right, let's have the other.
Hi, my name is Andrea Bruff. I live on Fawn Lily, which is kind of squared off as where they plan on putting some of the houses. And I just wanted to comment on the drainage issue. That's not an old issue, that's a new issue, or a current issue. Last summer, me and our neighbors do is we pop off the sewer grates when the rain becomes torrential to make sure that it's actually going into the sewer. And this summer, we just didn't do it in time and the street flooded and my car actually flooded and I had to get a whole new car. So with the thought of them putting in all these new houses, that is definitely something I think they should address. And then my other question was, and apologies because I was late, what's the construction schedule for this? Because I live on Fawn Lily, which dead ends. So there's a lot of kids that play because the street dead ends. And if they're building, I don't know how many ranches or whatever in the summer, there's kids everywhere. And how are they gonna control traffic and things like that at the end of that street? I only got this one letter. I have no idea what the plans are for my children and the other children that will be running down the street. And with Fawn Lily dead ending, my other concern is that they're gonna park construction vehicles at that dead end and just kind of leave them there while they work on these homes. And I just kind of think that's really not gonna work out for the people that live there, like me. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else, any other citizens?
We do have one more person.
We do have one more? Okay.
Hello, my name's Roger Mejia. I live directly behind or just to the west of where the new construction is on Waterbury Drive there. And my only concern with, like we talked about with some of the other people that were out there, is not so much the ranch home, but the size of the ranch. Most of those houses on that older part of the subdivision are 25, and mine's 3,000. I know there's some 4,000 square foot homes, and you could build a ranch, but I just want it to be, a bigger size ranch with more square footage, just so that it doesn't look too out of sorts with what's going on right there. So that was my only comment and concern. And I know there is drainage issues. I see it on our Facebook page all the time that certain homes do get flooded pretty bad, so on a regular. So, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion from the commissioners, or questions, comments, concerns?
Is Fawn Lily part of that area that you were referencing earlier, that you showed us on the map?
No, it's another subdivision.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have a motion either way on this that somebody would like to propose?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second for the motion to approve?
Second.
Okay. Well, first, a second to have roll call.
Ms. Rohr,
Aye.
Mr. Kella,
Aye.
Mr. Perez,
Aye.
Mr. Roosnellis,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Mr. Crompton,
Abstain.
Mr. Dillon.
Well, hopefully, so I'll go with aye.
Okay. This petition is currently scheduled to go to the second meeting in February to the city council. Get my next.
Next.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Staff will be in touch. Next on the agenda is M221, which is additional house plans for Lakewood Prairie subdivision. The applicant in this case is Patrick Cook, who's representative of D.R. Horton, so different home builder. The status of the applicant is a contract purchaser builder. The requested action is approval of new duplex plans. The existing zoning is R3, which is 1 and 2 family residential. The location is Lakewood Prairie subdivision, which is east of Barberry Way. The existing land use in this case is 2 family residential houses. The surrounding land use and zoning, to the north, we have undeveloped, and it's zoned R1B, that's single-family residential. To the south is undeveloped, and that's zoned R4, which is low-density multifamily. To the east, that is zoned, well, to the east, the land use is undeveloped, and it's zoned R1B, which is single-family residential. And to the west is an existing single-family development, and that's R1B. For site history, the subject property was annexed and classified to R1B, R3, and R4 residential zoning districts in 2003. The preliminary, final, and record plats for Lakewood Prairie subdivision were approved between 2003 and 2006. Under special information, D.R. Horton Home Builder is under contract to purchase the remaining 55 undeveloped duplex lots within Lakewood Prairie subdivision, Unit 2. Duplex plans were approved as part of the original approvals for Lakewood Prairie subdivision. These included attached 2 units and detached single units. We have attached pictures of that to the staff report. Approximately 115 units were constructed based on these approved plans. It is believed that the residential housing recession stopped the construction of these dwelling units during that time period. D.R. Horton would now like to purchase the remaining lots, and you can see the attached site plan, and construct the attached duplex plans for the remaining lots. The petitioner is proposing 5 new interior selections. Again, those plans are attached, that range in size from 1,571 square feet to 2,000 square feet. 3 to 4 bedroom options will be made available with 2.5 baths. 2-car garages and basements will be standard features in order to comply with previously built models. 3 elevation combinations will be possible. Those plans are also attached. The facades will need to comply with the previously approved annexation agreement, which requires 25% minimum brick on the front elevations for half of the duplexes. And 8 to 12 roof pitches are being proposed to meet previously constructed models. The new duplex plans have been presented to the Homeowners Association Board for Lakewood Prairie subdivision, and they have no objections to these new models, and their letter is attached to your staff report. Under analysis, the approval of these new plans will allow the new construction of duplexes on the remaining R3 lots in Lakewood Prairie subdivision, Unit 2. So that concludes staff's report. We do have 1 public comment that was provided to you, that was written. And Derek, is there anyone out there? Oh, well, I'm sorry, we're gonna have the,
Yeah, petitioner first.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
No, you're fine.
so if the petitioner's available, thank you.
Afternoon, Patrick Cook, D.R. Horton.
Do you have anything to add?
I think you did a great job of summarizing the history there and what D.R. Horton intends to do. Obviously, the site's been mothballed for the past 15 years. The plans that were built there were somewhat unique in that they were kind of 2 detached homes attached by like a 3 or 4 foot breezeway. The plans we have here, I think, live to what is in that community currently and actually a little bit bigger from a square footage standpoint. As you mentioned, roughly 115 units were completed here. Of those 115, there were 12 single-family units that were built 15 years ago. Of the lots we'd be purchasing, there are 9 single families. The remainder are all duplex units. And as you can see, there's a variety of floor plans and elevations.
What's the price range you expect to sell these at?
In the 2s, low to mid 2s. Right now, resale in there is generally upper ones to low twos, depending on the size of the home and the features.
Is there, it looked, hard to tell on the map, it looks like is it already developed? Like, the roads, sewer
Yeah,
line?
these are completely finished lots that
Completely,
sat there,
okay.
so they're not really pumpkin tooth, but there's lots that are sitting next to homes that were built 10 years ago. So
Okay.
it's been sitting there for quite some time.
Thank you.
Any other questions from some of the commissioners? And we have a citizen that wanted to talk on this?
Derek,
Wait.
sheet for this agenda item?
Yes.
I had a real quick, just one, I promise it's really quick. The 25% minimum brick, it's only on one unit, or is it spread between both units?
I assume it's would be across the duplex unit. We're still calculating that out based on what was there and the percent of brick that were built. But like I said, 115 units were built, 100 still need to be built, so we're still figuring out, but yes, the 25% would be across the duplex unit. I believe there are some historical ones there where one side has brick and the other side does not. We probably would not do that. We'd keep it uniform across both.
Okay, yeah, because I'm looking at it, and it looks,
Yeah, it's,
that was it.
Okay. For this citizen?
Hi, sorry, I came in on the wrong meeting. My apologies. I have the same issue though. There's a drainage issue on Fawn Lily. It's been noted. The street floods, if there's too much rain, the street floods. I understand if you look behind Fawn Lily, there is a giant farm, but it's still, the street is flooding. It's not just runoff coming from the farm. It's the way the streets are set up. The water can't get to where it needs to get to quickly. So if we're adding more homes, I think that needs to be addressed. Once again, my other issue with the construction, with the amount of young children on Fawn Lily, you know, how long is the construction going to take? When is the construction scheduled for? All those things. And then also, you know, just are there going to be construction vehicles parked at the dead end of Fawn Lily? There's also a large gap on the side of the street from Van Dyke to Fawn Lily where lots of people park cars. Are there going to be vehicles parked there, just idling? Things like that concern me as a homeowner with the building of these homes. And then also, even though they were approved by the HOA, I just wonder how they're going to look with these. I live in it's an attached single-family home with how these other homes, are they going to look the same? See, I haven't even received these, so I don't know what they're going to look like. But will the other homes look similar, sort of similar? So those are just my concerns as far as traffic and drainage. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is the petitioner back in? Did you have a construction period time frame on all this?
we are going to purchase these lots via 3 different takedowns. So if you put the map back on, we tend to start in the north part first. But generally, you know, from an underwriting standpoint, we plan to sell 2 per month. You figure there's 100 units in there. You do the math. We're going to be there for some time, but I mean,
You've been there for a while, for 2 per month.
This is a built-out community, so I mean, there isn't a ton of that, I guess, road work and construction going in. You know, the binder course is down. I think there's probably a second coat down, but I mean, the amount of, you know, I'm not gonna lie, it's a construction site. We're building homes, but I mean, this isn't a raw development coming up from the ground here. So I mean, I think that it's somewhat minimized from that standpoint.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Call roll.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. Roosevelt?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Abstain.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Okay. This agenda item is scheduled at this point in time to go to the second meeting in February for City Council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, under new or old business, not for final action or recommendation, we have nothing. Next on the agenda after that is public comment. Do we have anyone here who'd like to make a public comment?
Nope, don't see none.
Eric says no. Okay, the next item is adjournment.
You have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second? Roll call?
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. Roosonellis?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.